feel like all I have to say for this one is Draymond Green was on the Inside the NBA show last night. And then you stay, but he might have ruined the expectations for Golden State fans. He said success might not be for us at this point, and at this point, a championship. He also cooked Barkley, saying that the hopes are to just not look like you did in the Houston uniform. You wanted to talk about this, so let's go.
I'm here. I'm just deciding how I want to phrase this and how harsh I want to be or not. I'm going to give Draymond Green some very friendly advice in the spirit of how close he is with some of my most respected friends and colleagues. And you know, one of my closest friends is a very close friend of his. If you want to be good on television, Draymond, you have to be able to laugh at yourself. Particularly if you are going to be a harsh critic of others. Take it from me, buddy. Like, I get to be all somewhat arrogant, annoying, chesty. I also, 3 weeks ago, put on a clown nose and rainbow wig. And I was the one that alerted the world. I picked an NBA Finals where both teams got popped in round one. What used to be Turner Sports, and now, you know, that's kind of gone, but Inside the NBA has clearly been hoping and grooming you to one day take over for Charles freaking Barkley, maybe the greatest sports television performer ever. And in that entire time, for as bright as you are, you have not realized Barkley's key to his broadcast brilliance is he relishes being the butt of the joke. He gives it and he takes it with a smile. And Draymond's total lack of any ability to laugh at himself makes some of his TV clips peak Curb Your Enthusiasm uncomfortable to watch. The clip of him yesterday, keep in mind, this is on the heels of him trying to go high school resume for high school resume with Austin Rivers. Which, I mean, like, what are we doing? And Austin Rivers, who obviously was not
cooked him
25% of the pro that Draymond was, but is 500% of the broadcaster. Austin Rivers, in his response, was like, hey, buddy, here's where your facts were wrong. We weren't the same high school player. We weren't the same college player. But by the way, you have me clocked in the pros. I give it to you. Obviously you do. And it immediately, Austin Rivers 8-miling his own NBA career. It removes any type of ammo you have. And then he just kept killing you. But on the heels of that clip yesterday, when Draymond says the goal is to not look like Charles in Houston, and Charles, who I gotta think knew what he was doing, instead of lightening the tension by chuckling, just stared at him, silently and then let Draymond continue to try to dig himself deeper. It took me 3 instances to be able to get through it because it was such uncomfortable, awful television. And do you know how high the cringe factor has to be to make inside the freaking NBA uncomfortable television? It's the greatest sports TV show, that or PTI, the greatest sports TV shows ever. And Ernie was there, and Chuck was there, and Kenny was there. And it took 45 seconds of Draymond Green being delusional for me to be like, like that feeling of like, oh God, stop. And the worst part about it all, DeMonze, is he's fucking wrong. Chuck's first year in Houston, he was awesome. There is the idea, and this is a great example of where ring culture it is toxic.
To the heads, yeah.
Bro, Draymond Green's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest defensive players of all time. I've said time and again, I think he's the second most important Warrior ever, not Klay Thompson. I believe all of those things. He also is not in the same room of greatness as Charles freaking Barkley. And even old, out of shape Charles Barkley in Houston was doing work. And the idea that Chuck with Houston was...
He's like Shaq with Phoenix, I feel like is what he was trying to call
Yes. Or shoot, he was trying to call him maybe Shaq with the Celtics or with the Cavs, like a little late Shaq. Or that it was Ewing with the Magic. No, it was not. His first year there, they made the conference finals, and he was awesome. He was, for his 4 years there, he was 16-12. Do you know the last time Draymond Green, I understand they're different players, not stats guy. Do you know the last time Draymond Green averaged 16 points a game? Honest to God. The answer to that, no. Michigan State. That's the last time. So don't give, and by the way, I don't have that. I'm pulling up his college stats now.
4 years
I'm going to check to make sure. I would imagine he averaged 16 at Michigan State. Yeah, final year at Michigan State, 16.2. I mean, give me a break, bro. And Charles can annoy the hell out of me, but I'm not going to sit here and let you recreate history on who he was as a player.
Yeah.
Even though Charles does kind of sometimes try to recreate history, that he wasn't ring chasing there, that he didn't join a team that was a year removed from winning back-to-back championships, and that he was joining a former MVP and Akeem, and he was a former MVP. When he goes after LeBron, he's like, I was old and washed when I joined Houston. That's why it's okay that I joined him with Clyde and Akeem, and then Scotty joined too. It wasn't that Houston had beaten me in back-to-back playoff series, so then I teamed up with them to try to finally get over the hump, and I still couldn't. Despite all that, here's the thing. Here's where I think Draymond made a mistake. Charles has, for so long, downplayed how good he was when he went to Houston because he has wanted to criticize Kevin Durant for joining the Warriors or LeBron for joining the Heat. He has made people think, oh, when Charles joined Houston, he must have sucked. No, he did not.
He's looking to get paid.
No, he did not. The year before Charles joined Houston, he was top 10 in MVP voting. 3 years before, he won it. And 2 years before, Akeem won it. He was still awesome. Charles's first year in Houston, he was 19-14. 19-14 with 5 assists. They made the conference finals. His final year in Houston, when he's like, I was washed and I was terrible, he was 15-10. 15-10.
Yeah.
I mean, again, now that year, to be fair, he was injured and he was not Charles Barkley, but when he played, he was effective. I can't.
Draymond looked like legit angry, ready to do something when they said that to him.
I can't. Again, folks, nobody needs to take broadcasting advice from me. With that said, I've got an annoying voice, a ridiculous nose. I didn't play sports past high school, and I've done pretty well. So, take it for what you will. If you want to be a flamethrower, you've got to be totally fine with laughing with everybody when you're the one getting burnt. And that is a pitch that Draymond's never learned. And unless he does, his peak broadcasting will be podcast by himself as opposed to the Diamond Studio show that has been desperately wanting to develop him for 5 years. So, choose your own adventure, pal. Free advice. If I ever need, for some reason, to learn how to play arguably the greatest help side defense in the history of the NBA, you owe me one. But in the meantime, take this one on the house.